Yeah, classmates, guys that we made, like you said. So, first thing I want to say is I look out here and I see all these plumbers and electricians, and the first thought I have is that I'm really glad there's no residential wall space for us to fight over, because if there was, this might be less of a graduation, more of a gladiator type situation. I had a joke about lions and hyenas, but apparently we're not telling plumber jokes today, so I won't. Like most of us, between work, side work, family, friends, life, I didn't really have a ton of time to prepare a speech. And I lost my place already. And like most projects, it was finished about 5 minutes before it was due. So, real quick, I want to shout out to my instructors who, disappointingly, only my final one is here, but I'm going to go ahead anyway.
Let's face it, there's one that really matters.
You know, I was going to throw a compliment this man's way. No, Steve Miles was my first instructor. He made my first year pretty seamless. He gave me the standard curriculum, but he also instilled in us how big of an issue safety is, because he had a pretty big issue of his own. And he instilled that in us, and I think about that every day when I'm out on the job and doing my thing. You know, I learned from him essentially that nothing is worth my safety when I have a daughter and a wife and family at home that want to see me come home. I can't say that I understand all of the hazards of the plumber's work, but I can tell you that the hazards of my work are pretty severe if you're not careful. So I learned that from Steve Miles. Jeff Boots, you know what, we're going to skip right over them because they're not here, and I'm kind of disappointed that they're not here. But Matt Holst is here. You know, what do you say about Matt? I quickly realized that Matt must be some kind of genius, because how else can he possess all that knowledge and still have room for all the BS floating around in his head? It just, but I kept my head down. I took lots of notes, and I learned a great deal from this man over the course of the session. I accepted most and rejected few of his ideologies. He's the fourth-year instructor, and he's the final line of defense for a reason. And he'll remain in that position until A, he chooses to step down, or B, I decide to become an instructor. I have to be honest. I never thought that I would walk or do the ceremony thing, let alone stand in front of you people giving a speech. I thought that the only paper that I really cared about was the green kind. And after my last class, I would walk off into the sunset and I would be done, and that would be all she wrote. However, seeing the enthusiasm on the face of my lovely wife and friends, and even Matt Holst's enthusiastic nature towards this event, this ceremony, this walking paper, you know, it all led me to believe that my attitude towards this was all wrong. This is an accomplishment. Begrudgingly dragging my behind into this place for 4 years, rain, shine, or bitter cold, when all you want to do after a long day of work is stay home. But you come here anyway.
Can I record it? No.
When I realized that I had the wrong attitude towards this ceremony, I got the inspiration for the general message that I would like to portray tonight to the tradesmen, to the families of the tradesmen, and especially any kids who are old enough to understand the words that are coming out of my mouth. And that is simply, do not belittle your intelligence. Rather, strive every day to improve upon it. Be the guy who keeps up and understands the next move as it's being made. In essence, be willing to be the smartest guy in your shop. We heard tons from Matt about you could be the smartest guy in your shop, be the smartest guy in your shop, make the most money in your shop. And I'm like, hey, Dad, tell us another story about, you know, whatever you want to tell the story about today. But it makes sense. If you don't keep up with your trade is going to pass you by. It's simple. I see it all the time from guys that I know are smart. I know they know their stuff, but they get stuck in a rut, and they get stuck in their ways. You know, you have to be progressive. You have to be open to change at all times if you want to continue to be a leader in your trade, whether it be plumbing, whether it be electrical, whether you're a painter, who cares? It doesn't matter. Times change, materials change, improvements are made constantly, and you have to be able to move and ebb and flow. Furthermore, oftentimes I feel as though it's an epidemic in our society, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to skip that. Basically, if you get anything from my ramblings right now, I want it to be that as your trade makes leaps and bounds into the future, you have to as well, or you will be obsolete, period. Now let's get to the real reason I'm here, or for that matter, the real reason I'm anywhere ever, and that's food. Where are the snacks?